Hey guys, welcome as we bring round one front nine coverage of the second annual Ram Jam Classic at the University of Mobile. I'm JC Rowe, and with me is one of the co-TDs and co-course designers, Josh Hollingsworth.
Hey guys.
What do we got going on today, man?
So we've got the feature card coverage of this first round, this course we put in 2017. It's a par 55 in the layout today, and yeah, it looks to be a good one.
Yeah, man, we got a good group of guys here. Myself, Caleb Huber, Matt Givens, and Dylan Weaver.
And we'll bring you a word from our sponsor.
At the University of Mobile, Mobile is more than a place we know. It's where we are known. In a world where education often feels impersonal and disconnected, the University of Mobile is different. We go beyond the traditional classroom to build community in our community. Because Mobile is more than a place we know. It's where we are known. The University of Mobile. Experience the difference. Know and be known.
So hole one is 370 feet. You're kind of playing a little uphill. Takes a heck of a drive to get across, maybe a backhand flexing, but not too much because you don't want to hit these limbs on the right side and finish it into a green that can play a little fast if you get onto it flat. Has some out of bounds that comes into play about 40 feet behind it.
Yeah, a lot of these guys are probably going to throw in fairway. I know personally I throw distance driver with the first hole, but we got a good group of guys that can sling.
Perfect start.
So we start off with yours truly.
What a stud.
And I'll be throwing a D1 here. Prodigy sponsored, so my whole bag is Prodigy. I kind of pulled over on that a little bit of a headwind coming through there.
First hole, that's not a bad mistake at all.
And we got another local pro, Caleb Huber, mixed bag. I think he's ripping on an FD1 here from Discmania.
See if you can go to line on your work.
And as he said, he pulled it.
So he hit those limbs on the right side. He should have a pretty easy up and down. You can definitely see the basket from there. Just a little chip up and in.
All right, and stepping up to the box, we have Matt Givens, as you can see on the shirt there, team finish line. Ripping on a fairway from them.
Yeah, an era.
That's right.
And looks like you did it pretty well.
Thank you.
You don't see a whole lot of tee shots on this first hole of the round get up there on hole one's green, and to be able to get 20 feet past the basket, that's pretty ideal.
All right, and then last up, we have Dylan Weaver here, sporting a nice key lime pie shirt. A little bit of an early release there.
Looking forward to Dylan showing us the lefty lines all day today.
Yeah, unfortunately, that does sit down and does not find the out of bounds. So, we got Mac with a putt. The rest of us trying to just pitch up there, maybe give it a little run.
And Caleb with the pretty easy up and down like I was mentioning, but it looked like he left a little meat on the bone with his approach.
Yeah, just probably that slope from the hill probably made him lean a little forward.
Dylan, the lefty forehand specialist, trying to ring one up. Yeah, with a pretty good layup. Must have had something obstructed from behind that tree.
Right, and as you can see here, I've got a low ceiling. Dylan was backing that back as well. And not a good bid from myself, so.
First hole, though, walk out of here with a par. That's definitely not a bad start to the day. As Caleb starts us off with one.
Yeah, it just sneaks in on the left side. Mac looking to take an early lead on this card. Cashes it dead center there.
Yeah, and hole one actually played as the fourth hardest hole in the day. It was .21 under par, and Mac was only one of 3 birdies in the field. Field of 14 today in the open division. Couple of par cleanups, and we'll move on to hole 2.
Yeah, so hole 2, 250 feet downhill the whole way. You got this sloping hillside on the right that you really don't want to catch as you're coming to the basket. But the name of this hole is The name of this game is to just slide up distance control.
Yeah, nice little putter shot that gets you 30 feet before the basket sliding up would be perfect.
Right, looking to turn this over a little bit, put a little juice on that, and he's actually going off into the fairway on hole 3.
Should have some kind of look back at the basket, but yeah, not ideal on a 250-foot hole. Maybe some adrenaline running early in the morning on tournament day.
He got that first birdie and said, let's go.
JC, I think you're throwing a distortion there, right?
Right, just put a little bit too much flex on it. I was trying to throw all hyzer into that hillside on the right.
The forehand play is not a bad one on this one too, but if you get it flexed over at all, risk those plate myrtles, you're going to be pretty upset.
Caleb here ripping on a D-line P2. You'll probably see that several times throughout this round, and throws it perfectly.
Even got the pine cone to slow him down a little bit.
I believe Dylan was throwing a P model US here.
He needed a little more US out of that one.
Yeah, a little early release again, but fortunate enough to get around the trees. He'll have this long look here.
Pretty good bid from Dylan. Gave it a good amount of glide going into the basket.
Just needed a little more energy.
And a little less from Mac.
Yeah, just a little sailed over the top of the basket, but yeah, he'll have a nice easy par cleanup.
And what's your thoughts here as a second hole of the day trying to knock home a birdie?
I really just want to make sure I follow through with this putt.
And enough.
Yeah, no wasted energy there.
It's a long day. You got 34 holes left.
Getting old too, so the ripe age of 30.
No comment. Caleb driving home a 2 on the second hole of the day.
Yeah, it looks like a good committed putt there. Good cleanup from the hole 1, little left side.
Dylan dropping in his 3.
Max looking to do the same here. And
Well, he had one good back to the course.
doesn't quite get it, doesn't follow through.
Didn't look very clean coming out of his hand. He was shaking his hand. That's something we definitely need to keep note of this round.
So we move on to hole 3, another par 3 out here. That's pretty much majority of the holes are going to be par 3s. 320 feet, cresting over this hill. Most players are probably going to try to swing an overstable mid or fairway out to the right side and have it crash in. We may see a straight look at it from Dylan or a flex forehand.
Yeah, if you throw anything faster than a mid, that green can get really fast with that hard-packed sand and no grass to catch you. So
All right, I'm going with an F1 here and just getting a little too much on it.
probably pin high, maybe 50, 60 right, looking at it.
Yeah, just never quite stabled up. Definitely too much angle on that disc.
I'm really excited for this hole in years to come with that magnolia in the middle of the fairway, just to grow up and make it a little more tough.
Caleb ripping over on a leopard 3, kind of following my line. Probably a little closer. He didn't quite turn it over as much.
Dylan will give us the opposite spin approach on this hole.
Yeah, Dylan's got some power. He's ripping on a buzz here. Looked a little early, but seemed to be flippy enough of a disc
Yeah, that
to
buzz flipped up nice.
keep straight for a while.
Probably have 25 feet to the basket. All right, looks like he wants to get some turn on this with his initial lineup.
Yeah, I think this is an MD3.
Gets it pulled over, we'll see if it works out.
Yeah, kind of following that same line over there with me and Caleb, but probably with a shorter disc, it'd be fine.
Yeah, exactly.
So here I've got this downhill, kind of intimidating look, and my main thought on this is not to blast past the basket, but did it anyway.
Don't you love how that works? The one thought in your head is actually what actually happens.
Caleb also with kind of a laggy bid, not really blasting at it, just a little high.
Dylan got inside of this tree where you want your shot to be on this hole and drives home a good putt.
It takes really good advantage of staying close to the basket.
Mac with a little bit of a shorter bid. We'll see if he can clean up some of his woes on his release from the last hole.
A little high, but in the basket. A little razzing from the gallery there. TD.
Yeah, TD giving him a little bit of grief, but hey, that was a good putt. Definitely worked off his correction from the last hole, made sure to get it over the rim. And yourself driving it home.
Yeah, I'm just trying to make sure I go through the motions on every putt. On a course
two
like
birdies
this.
and 2 pars on that hole is not bad at all.
Right, yeah, and a course like this, it seems kind of birdie or die, but there are some tricky holes out here.
Yeah.
Speaking of.
Yeah, here's one of them. You have this main gap that you want to hit. A forehand works really great on this hole, working from right to left and then back into the basket with this hill. That retaining wall is out of bounds. There's a couple different lines on this hole, a couple sneaky hyzers out to the right, but anything straight down the gap and turning right should be good, especially with the downhill.
Yeah, I think majority of these guys are going to be going counterclockwise spin here, dealing with the backhand. The rest of the guys with forehand.
If he misses that tree, yeah, he's in good shape. Probably throwing that buzz again. Yeah, great shot out of Dylan.
So fun fact, Mac is actually left-handed as well, but has developed this righty forehand, and he's pretty good at it, surprisingly.
Yeah, one would call him amphibious. As I mentioned, he gets it moving right to left, but just a little too much. That tree will catch you if you try to put a little too much flex on the disc. There actually is a huge hyzer out to the right as well, but those limbs keep growing further and further down and kind of preventing that line.
Yeah, if you end up, trying to punch it straight and low, you could possibly somehow get over that wall as well.
Yeah.
So for me here, I'm throwing a feedback, trying to get a little flex on it, and as I said in real time,
That almost rings one up.
I missed my intended line by probably about 15 feet, but it worked out well.
Maybe that's your line next time now?
No, probably not.
Something to
Not
note.
intentionally.
Something to note here on this hole. This tee box fades pretty hard right to left at the end, so it's kind of hard to get your footing. I definitely recommend playing off this front right corner as Caleb goes off the left.
And yeah, kind of just hitting it right in the middle, squaring that tree up. So looking to get up and down here. I believe that's a nice overstable of justice.
Yeah, he's been throwing that disc for a long time. He knows what he's doing with it, as he shows us right there. On this course, I say if your upshot game is working for you on the day, you're probably not shooting very well.
Yeah, definitely every hole out here is attackable, and you want to make sure you're hitting your putts and your drives.
Yeah. And you pick up a 2. Good hole out of you. Dylan will look to do the same.
So yeah, again, 2 birdies, 2 pars. Probably the mix you would expect out of this hole.
Yeah. Caleb picking up a 3 after hitting the early tree. Definitely a good up and down.
Yeah, one thing you don't want to do this early on is, shank an upshot and end up taking a bogey. So we moved on to hole 5, 200 feet. I'd imagine this is probably the easiest hole in the course, just, taking a simple putter shot straight at it. Dylan, I believe, is going to throw a flex forehand here. You don't want to push it too deep because there is some shrubbage back there that you can definitely can contest your putt.
Yeah, definitely the easiest hole on the day, averaging a 2.14 negative, or excuse me, 0.86 under par. Dylan trying to ring one up with the forehand. Great shot. And trying to bring the luck of the Irish in here. Jeez, Mac. Looks like you're going a little bit inside of Dylan's line and a chance to ring it up. You may bring the bushes into play a little bit behind the basket. Those can be a little precarious, but if you want to run it, that's the way you got to go.
Good to start off the round, 5 holes in, and you catch an ace. Maybe, give you some good luck in the rest of the round.
It'll pay for lunch for sure.
Mac here's throwing a ringer GT, kind of flexing it, hitting that last tree on the right, but he's close enough that he should be fine.
Yeah, that'll put him at edge of circle at worst. So he's a professional. He should be able to make that
For sure. Kayla was just mentioning on the tee box that the good thing about being last is you get to bring your bag down the retention wall.
One of the course improvements that we've noted with the school is we want some stairs on hole 4, hole 5, and hole 9, or excuse me, hole 10 coming soon.
Right, and tournaments like this are what help bring that to fruition.
And I guess while these guys are putting out, making their putts, great putt out of Mac, the school has been very helpful with this course. The students love it. We're looking actually to put a second course in this winter. And you'll see a couple of those the second round with the temporary course, a couple of hole previews. But yeah, be looking out for that pretty soon.
Yeah, and be sure to check out the round 2 coverage as well.
See if we can spot your disc behind the basket. Pretty easy.
Yeah, I didn't go too far in there, but definitely a little more work than I want to on the easiest hole in the course.
No howler this year. You just want to give yourself a bogue putt.
So this one limb in the way, putt over it.
Yeah, like you've done that in South Alabama before or something like that.
And that gives us a star frame.
Yep, 4 2s out of our lead card. There were 13 birdies on this hole out of the day out of a 14-person field. So hole 6 is the only par 4 in this layout. You really want to hit this straight gap and try to get around this corner of woods. You're going to finish downhill to a basket that is really close to a painted out-of-bounds ditch. The ditch is only about 10 feet behind it. If you cut anything off early into these woods, par would probably be best unless you can really scramble.
Yeah, I agree. Most guys are probably going to throw in an overstable fairway or distance driver, just trying to get as far left as possible. But again, like you said, try to get it straight first.
Straight and hit the gap. Those are the 2 goals.
Dylan looked to accomplish that. Little inside, but not tucked off. He should be able to easily get up and down.
Yeah, he should be able to see
there.
the basket from that corner right there. What are you throwing here, JC?
I'm in between an FX4 and a feedback, and not sure. Last couple of times I've thrown this hole, I've hit that one bush that's just over my left shoulder. So I said, throw it just a little bit harder, and you should get around it. And
I hit that every time. Yeah, I mean it's not bad, but I
That's
like
a
to
really
get
well
it
placed
down.
bush. Like, 12 years ago, I put a seed.
yeah, and I mean, it's really not a bad spot. You hit that, you should have an easy up and down, maybe just a little step out forehand or backhand, but it's just aggravating when you want to get around it.
Sure. You beat that, and you're definitely looking at an eagle putt. All right. That's a pretty rough kick off that tree. Not the worst kick. He's probably going to be on the edge, but I would say par at best at this point. Looks like Caleb put the fairway driver on the ground.
I think this is a destroyer from him, actually. Oh, he put the fairway driver on the ground. I was just testing you.
Golly.
And Caleb hits the
Same one, huh?
same bush as me, so tell him he's got to buy me a beer after the round.
Only appropriate to have a bush. Right? So Mac in the grass on the left side. A very helpful tournament director really found that in that pile of grass over there.
Yeah, fun fact, it was buried about a foot in that mulch.
If it wouldn't have been orange, I probably wouldn't have seen it. And Mac with a really good approach to the basket. He's probably got a long look from there with the flex forehand.
Yeah, it's going to be a tough look, though, with the OB right behind the basket. I actually put a little more steam on that than I wanted to, but it nestled up perfectly. You're really just trying to lay up about 10 or 15 feet short of this basket.
Yeah, that tree that's right in front of the basket actually was cut about a week before the tournament. So thanks to the university on that, it was kind of becoming a widow maker and maybe taking out the basket at some point. So glad to see that going.
Dylan with a long eagle look, but really more probably just a pitch up there.
This is, if you get a 2 on this hole, it's a big bonus, and you're actually risking a lot going right at that OB.
So Mac able to kind of push it away from the basket, but just a layup from him.
That kind of showcases the hole too. If you're up early in those woods, just pars can be at best. It's Caleb's razzing Dylan.
I thought if I doinked that, I put a little extra on it. Just I did. In the wink, I suppose.
Seems like the vibes are pretty good on this card.
I'd say, yeah, this group of guys plays together casually and in tournaments all the time, and it's just a real fun group.
It's still dry, but it's like tall grass.
So we move on to hole 7, 230 feet. One of the shorter holes on the course, especially with the downhill play. Most guys are going to take a forehand or Dylan with a backhand hyzer. Just pitch it up down there, not try to cut it off too far inside or flex over on it. Really just more of a distance control shot, similar to hole 2 in that sense.
Yeah, and it finishes, the ground actually dips pretty hard at the basket, so this green can be pretty fast and put you 40 feet right in a hurry.
Dylan just a little inside it seems, but it's probably a good break from the bush there. He probably would have just been as far right as he is short there. And I'm kind of in between discs. I've got a distortion and an MX1, both overstable mids, but one a tad more overstable.
Maybe should have went a little less stable.
Maybe.
Saw it off there.
Just a little wider on the gap.
I mean, out of the 2 misses, that's probably the miss to make, because if you come up left and hit these limbs, then you're going to be looking at a much longer look.
Did the same thing, dude.
It's like y'all been playing together for a long time.
Told myself let it stay out wide and do the same thing.
Thanks, Caleb.
Yeah, it's kind of funny, something to think about if you're ever trying to figure out your shots. The tee box actually points straight at the basket, but your run up wants to be right to left, so you actually can get it out wide as Mac does, but grabs that last tree.
Yeah, really well placed tree. That was definitely running the basket.
So we all have pretty similar looks here, all pretty much outside the circle.
See if you can show your card mates how it's done.
Outside, right? Yep.
And bang. Hashtag ram it. Heck of a putt out of you.
Thanks, man.
Feels really good to big putt the whole card and just actually put the pressure in their court.
Right, for sure.
Caleb's going to try to match. Doesn't look like he's too obstructed by that pine and about halfway through his putt.
Yeah, judging by his stance, straight on, just a little low. Again, this green is downhill, and even the slightest downhill can probably get in your head. So, similar look for Dylan here.
Yeah, with the basket fading away from you, it's really, really easy to miss on the cage, short. Just that's the mistake you want to make. See if Dylan can work off Caleb though.
Yeah, fun fact about Dylan, he's also amphibious.
The righty putter. Looks like he cut that one off just a little too short. And you can see that Mac's disc, it was finishing pretty hard towards the basket. Definitely would have gave the chains a scare if it could have got around that tree. and hit.
I guess I'm gonna say confident bid there.
You
but
can't hit much more metal without chain and not make that basket.
So yeah, a little foreshadowing there, and big putted the whole card.
Why you do that to him like that?
So you don't necessarily want to see it for your friends, but as a competitor, it feels pretty good to snag the only birdie on this hole.
It's a little different on tournament day. So 2 and 3 threes, and we'll move on to hole 8.
Yeah, so hole 8, 305 feet, slightly uphill, slightly right to left grade. Most players are probably going to throw a backhand with a mid-range or maybe even a fairway. Dylan probably going to go to the left, playing into the hillside with a mid-range or a fairway as well.
Yeah, so I played the left to right shot as well, but this hyzer out to the right is lines up perfectly for this hole if you can get the speed control going into the green. Right. Just got to miss a couple limbs. Looks like you've done so.
Yeah, just a little inside, and you can see how it pushes on the left side. And as I mentioned in real time, I was trying to go way wider.
So Dylan's going to give us the opposite view. This one plays more into the hill. If he can just avoid a couple of trees that pretty early on, he should have a good shot into the basket. It's like he's put that pretty heavy on the hyzer angle.
Yeah, he definitely hits the line that he wants, but as you mentioned, it was probably tilted just a little too much.
He'll still have about 45, maybe 50 into the basket downhill.
Caleb here ripping over on an overstable Firebird, going way wide with it.
Yeah, great shot. Using the hill and the ground play down to the basket.
Keeping it low, that's another thing that will help on this hole.
Beautiful Firebird shot. Mac, we'll see if he can get that powerful lower half working here.
I believe this is an MD5 from him.
It's a little bit slower disc than Caleb's Firebird, but working into the green.
He goes with the same line, but yeah, as you said, just doesn't quite get left enough. But should have a similar look to myself and Dylan.
Dylan obstructed by the pine tree, and that's 2 in a row that's just short of coming in.
Yeah, he definitely thought he had that one.
Mac making that putt, definitely putting the ice on the cake, per se. Icing, excuse me. Didn't look like you were too far down the hill.
Right, I think I caught that tree right there and fortunate to stay in the circle.
Did you call bank?
Did not call bank. Luckily, we're playing bar rules, and that still counts.
Okay.
So Dylan looking to clean up what looks to be the only par on this hole, waving to the fans out there. Appreciate everybody who came out to watch this prestigious tournament and group.
Yeah, you're welcome.
And Caleb was able to clean up his birdie as well, also waving to the crowd.
Yeah, so hole 9 to round us out on this front 9 coverage. 265 feet uphill, probably plays more like 280, 285. There's multiple lines you can hit at this basket. I think the straight shot's probably what a lot of people do on this hole. There's also a wide hyzer, but the hyzer line coming in brings that sidewalk into play that's inside the circle.
Right, yeah, you definitely, if you're playing the hyzer as I am, you want to push it out wide and make sure you don't go too far left.
I think also, it looks like you got a pretty good move on this shot. Beat a couple of pine trees, and yeah, beautiful shot. I think also it's key on this shot to not bring some trees into play and kind of poke through some of those, is to make sure you get this shot moving left at the basket instead of before it on that hyzer.
Right, kind of more of a stall shot instead of just a pushing hyzer. I think Caleb's lining up a similar line to me.
Not sure what he's throwing there. Looks to be
MD3, I believe.
Okay.
Iron Samurai.
Yeah, and he looks like he cut it off a little early. I mean, you can beat those gaps sometimes and get up close to the basket, but you're definitely putting more risk into play. also pretty heavy on the hyzer. He's gonna have to catch something, and catches the roots of that tree, or the base, I should say. That had some definitely, it was definitely fortunate that it didn't go out of bounds.
Dylan here looking to line up the flex forehand. He's been throwing them a lot on up shots. Gets to showcase it off the tee and puts a great move on it. Misses that last tree and
Wow, great shot.
almost makes minis with my disc.
Yeah, little baby flex up the middle. That was beautiful.
So Caleb's still got a decent look here. Probably going to give it a bid.
A little uphill, maybe 45 feet.
And just kind of sails it.
Unfortunate to not get a roll out of bounds, but he's on the dance floor. He should be able to clean that up.
So Mac has a really good look here after catching that last tree. It definitely pushed around and rolled probably a little towards the basket. And takes advantage.
Yeah, drives home the 2 on hole 9. Put himself in a pretty tight race here. It's like everyone on the cards, no barn burners, but everybody's playing pretty well. That happens way more than I'd like to admit, but Caleb just a little short with his comeback. Definitely not what you want to see at this point in the round, but he can definitely recover from that.
That gives us this, actually I'm at 7 now. I was going to say that gives us a small straight for the front 9, but...
Yeah, guys, so that was front 9 coverage. Thanks for tuning in. Come join us soon for back 9 coverage. JC?
Yeah, man. Be sure to like and subscribe, and also, like you said, come back.
All right. Thanks to our sponsors, the University of Mobile, MADGA, the Prime Suspects, Chicken District, the University of Mobile Store, the Alumni Association of the University of Mobile, Donnie Wayne Butler Jr., PDGA number 249172, and to Cottage Hill Baptist Church College Ministry. Thanks, guys.